Okay, so now we have a lot of practice with worksheets 3.1 and 3.2. Now we're going to move on a little bit more and just keep adding to the process. Okay, so I hope you remember from a long time ago, when you divide or multiply by a negative number, you have to flip that sign. Okay, so but that's only when you do it. So if you divide by a negative number, flip your sign. If you multiply by a negative number, flip your sign. Now, we're going to go through some examples and show you how to do that. 3.3, there is a lot of graphing. So it says solve each inequality and graph, okay? So we are actually going to do this whole column. So it's going to be a lot of examples that I'm going to go through with you, but that way you have like a good basis on how to solve these. Okay, so we want to get W by itself right now. What is W doing with 4 right now? Well, it's dividing. You got to do the opposite of that. So what's the opposite? Well, we got to multiply. So whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to multiply by 4 on both sides. Okay, those are now gone. They cancel each other out. So I'm left with W less than. Now, I did not change my sign because I didn't multiply by a negative number. I only multiplied by a positive number. So nothing's changed yet, okay? Only if it's a negative number is when you worry about flipping that sign. 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, I have now solved it. Now I need to draw it out. So here's my number line. Put 4 in the middle. Okay, 1 more than that is 5. 1 less than that is 3. Okay. Open or closed circle at 4. You have to ask yourself, is it an open or is it a closed circle? Well, it is not with a line underneath, so that means it's an open circle at 4. And this is saying W is less than 4. Less than is to the left. Okay. I know it's got a little bit of a glare, but open circle at 4 pointing to the left. Okay. Let's just keep working down that column. I need to get rid of this negative 2/3 in front of the y, okay? Well, we're going to do it in 2 steps. Right now, how do I get rid of that dividing by 3? I'm going to multiply by 3. So I'm going to multiply by 3 on both sides. So I have 3 less than or equal to, there's still a negative sign here, negative 2y, because this 3's canceled those out, but it hasn't done anything with that 2 and that negative sign. Okay? Now I still want to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide by negative 2. When I divide by a negative, I need to remember to flip this sign. So now 3 divided by negative 2 is still negative 1.5. Okay, not less than or equal to anymore. It's going to be greater than or equal to y. Now, if you don't like how that's written because your variable's on the right-hand side instead of on the left, you can change that. But just remember that it's eating that negative 1.5. Okay, so then you're going to graph this. Well, where is negative 1.5? Well, that's between negative 1 and negative 2, right in the middle between the two. Okay, so I'm just going to put a negative 1 and a negative 2. Open or close circle, well, it is or equal to, so it's a closed circle right in the middle of them. And it says y is less than or equal to negative 1.5. So that's pointing to the left. Okay, let's keep going. Next one. This one looks a lot like this one, but there's some differences. So this one had a negative 2/3. This one's a positive 2/3. And then there's a negative 1 on this side, but there's a positive 1 on that side. So let's see what happens. Okay, still need to get rid of this 2/3. I'm going to get rid of that dividing by 3 first. Let's come to multiply by 3. Now I didn't multiply by a negative number, so I don't need to flip any signs. I don't need to worry about that. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Keep the signs the way they are. And then I have 2k on that side. Okay, I want to get rid of that 2 in front of the k. I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2. Negative 3 divided by 2. Remember, I'm dividing by a positive. I'm not flipping my signs. Okay, negative 3 divided by 2 is negative 1.5. Less than or equal to k. Now remember, if I don't like how that's written, I can rewrite that. Let's try zooming in a little bit. Okay, I can rewrite that. I can put K on this side, the negative 1.5 on this side. Which one is it eating? It's eating the K. Okay. Between negative, it's at negative 1.5. Well, that's between, again, negative 1 and negative 2, right in the middle. Open or close circle. Well, it is or equal to. Now it's saying K is greater than or equal to that, so it's got to be pointing to the right. Greater than is to the right. We'll point to the right. Okay. Keep working down that column. I have 3t is less than negative 12. I got to get t by itself. I'm going to divide that 3 out. I didn't divide by a negative, so I'm not going to flip any signs. I'm going to have t is less than, what's negative 12 divided by 3? Negative 4. Draw my line. Negative 4. 1 higher than that, negative 3. 1 lower than that, negative 5. Open or close circle. Open circle at negative 4. Okay, open circle. It says t is less than negative 4, so that's less than is to the left. Okay, next one. I want to get w by itself, so I'm going to divide out that negative 3. Uh-oh, I'm dividing by a negative. What do I need to remember? Flip my sign, flip my sign. Okay, so I have w, now the opposite way, so it's greater than 21 divided by negative 3 is negative 7. Graph it. Negative 7 goes in the middle. 1 higher than that's negative 6. 1 lower that, negative 8. Open or close circle. Open at negative 7. It says w is greater than. Greater than is pointing to the right. Okay, number 12. Got to get d by itself here. So I got to divide by negative 9. Uh-oh, I divided by a negative. That means I need to flip my sign. So now I'm going this direction. Now what's 108 divided by negative 9? Well, that's actually negative 12. Now, if you do not like how that's written, you can rewrite it. Put the d on the left-hand side, the negative 12 on the right. Okay, alligator is eating the variable, so make sure that you do that again. So we're going to put negative 12 in the middle. 1 higher than that is negative 11. 1 lower, negative 13. Open or close circle at negative 12. Close, because it's or equal to. So that should be a nice filled in dot. Okay, it says d is greater than. Greater than is to the right. Okay, so you have a column that you have to finish on that side on your own. Let's look at the back side. Okay, these solve and graph. So you're solving and graphing those. What I need you to remember on number 19 is that conversion that there's 3 feet in 1 yard, okay? That one's a little trickier, but you can do it. 3 feet in a yard, don't forget that. So that's worksheet 3.3. Now we're also going to be looking at worksheet 3.4 because we're preparing you for when you're at home the next day. Okay, so I'm going to get out worksheet 3.4. Again, I know you have to do this on regular paper if you don't have a printer at home to print out these for yourselves. Okay. The good news is with 3.4, there is no graphing. Yay, no graphing. We did a lot of graphing in 3.3. No graphing in 3.4. You're just solving. Okay, but you still have to remember that if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you need to flip your sign. Okay, so you need to remember that. So we'll do a few together and then I will let you keep going. We're going to do 7 and 8 for sure. Okay, so we're just going to start solving. Okay, you can see pretty well. Okay, I'm going to distribute that 2 through so that I can get rid of that parenthesis. So 2 times k is 2k. 2 times 4 is 8, minus that 3k still, less than or equal to 14. Okay, try zooming in. Maybe you can see a little better. All right, so now I'm just going to add like terms. So I see a 2k minus 3k. Well, that's a negative 1k. So I have negative 1k plus 8 less than or equal to 14. They were on the same side of the equation, so I just added them together, combined like terms. Okay, now I want to get k by itself. I got to minus that 8 over. So I have negative 1k less than or equal to, what's 14 minus 8? 6. Okay, now I got to get rid of this negative 1. Uh-oh, I'm dividing by a negative 1. That means that I need to flip that sign. So I have k is greater than or equal to, what's 6 divided by negative 1? Negative 6. That's where you're going to get in trouble if you're dividing or multiplying by that negative number. You need to remember to flip your sign. Okay, let's try number 8. Distribute that 3 through. 3 times 4c is going to get me 12c. 3 times negative 5 is going to get me negative 15 minus 2c greater than 0. Okay, I see 12c minus 2c. Well, that gets me 10c minus 15 greater than 0. Okay, I got to get c by itself, so I need to add 15 to both sides. I'm going to rewrite that up here. I'm going to add 15. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I have 10c less than 15 divide by 10. It's okay to get decimals on this, just so you know. So I have c is greater than 1.5. I did not need to change my sign because I didn't divide or multiply by a negative number. Okay, so solving is just, this is my answer. This is my answer. I don't have to graph it. That's the good news. I could graph it, but it's not asking me to, so I'm not going to. Okay, then we're going to keep working our way down, and we're going to get to number like 15 and number 16. And now it says solve each inequality if possible. If the inequality has no solution, write no solution. And if they have all real numbers, write all real numbers. Now you got to remember, what do those two things mean? So just like when we were solving, when we have those two situations is when all of my variables are gone. Okay, so we were solving, all of a sudden all the variables are gone. Then if it makes sense, you're going to have all real numbers, or infinite, okay, is what we used to call it too. Either way, same thing. Now if it doesn't make sense, that's when you're going to put no solution. Okay, so let's start. Okay, we're going to distribute that 2 through. So I still have 6w plus 5 on this side, greater than 2 times 3w is 6w. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, want all your w's on one side, all your numbers on the other. So I'm going to subtract that 6w. Oh no, 6w's are gone on both sides. So I have 5 is greater than 6. Okay, does that make sense? Is 5 bigger than 6? No, that doesn't make sense. When it doesn't make sense, you put no solution. So if all of my variables are gone, which it was, and it didn't make sense, I'm going to put no solution. If it does make sense, then I'm going to put all real numbers or infinite. Okay, so we're going to try 16. Now, sometimes you're going to be able to solve these in here too, just like you normally would up here, like k is greater than or equal to negative 6. Okay, all right, 16. Distribute that negative 5 through. So I have negative 5r, and a negative 5 times a negative 2 is a positive 10. I'm going to rewrite everything on the other side. Okay, I'm going to add 5r because I need to get all my r's to one side. Oh, my r's are canceled now. So I have 15 greater than or equal to 10. Is 15 greater than or equal to 10? Well, it's greater than, so it is true. This is a true statement. So then if it's true and it makes sense and all my variables are gone, I'm going to put all real numbers or infinite. Either one will work for me. So one more time, variables gone, you have two options, either no solution or infinite, all real, okay? If it makes sense, all real, infinite. If it doesn't, no solution. Okay, and then the backside, you only have 2 word problems and 1 quick problem on there. So there's not much on the back. It is more work on the front. And remember, there is no graphing on worksheet 3-4.